We're living in an age of profound philosophical cowardice. We're told repeatedly by those who have placed themselves as the arbiters of global morality that the highest virtue of a modern civilized society is freedom of religion and belief. But today I'm going to ask what seems to be becoming a dangerous question. What happens when the freedom to believe becomes the very weapon that's being used to destroy the freedom to think and the freedom to speak? Imagine, if you will, a grand Renaissance painting in the style of Michelangelo. On one side, you have freedom of speech and thought, and that's a radiant, muscular, youthful figure, unbound, ascending, and it represents the natural, innate faculty of human consciousness. And on the other side, you have freedom of religion and belief, an uncouth, tired, angry old man, clutching desperately to the heavy, rusted chains of institutional dogma. We may have been sold a monumental lie. We've been told that these two concepts are both twin pillars of liberty. They are not. One is a natural state of being. The other is a historical construct designed to prevent dogma from scrutiny. The concocted former can never defeat the innate natural latter. And until we, as inheritors of a Dharmic civilization, wake up to this fundamental asymmetry, we will continue to lose the civilizational battle. I'm suggesting it's time to stop smiling, it's time to stop nodding, and it's time to establish what in Dharma Vidya we call Satya, reality. So what is freedom of speech as a dharmic value? And I think to better understand it, it's about time we stopped looking to Western liberalism, but to Dharma Vidya. In the Dharmic worldview, free thought is not a political add-on. It's not a concession granted by a secular state. It is Dharma. It's grounded in Satya, reality. Satyameva Jayate, only truth lives on. But reality, Satya in our tradition, is not merely factual accuracy. It's the eternal truth of consciousness, aligning thoughts, words, and deeds with cosmic righteousness. And how do we arrive at this truth? Through Vak. In the Vedic tradition, Vak is not just idle chatter, it's a sacred power of truthful utterance. The Rig Veda describes Vak as a goddess, as the great flood of Ritam, the cosmic order, inspiring a seeker's fire to reach truth in all of its forms. We require what we call Viveka, the razor-sharp faculty of discrimination and discernment. This is the ability that allows us to separate the real from the unreal, the eternal from the ephemeral. Look at our magnificent history. We didn't burn heretics at the stake. We didn't excommunicate the doubters. We invited them to the debating floor. We built the unparalleled tradition of Shastrartha, fierce, open, unapologetic philosophical contestation. When Adi Shankaracharya sought to revive Advaita Vedanta, he didn't raise an army. He walked to the home of Mandan Mishra, a staunch exponent of Purva Mimamsa and ritualism, and he debated him. A debate judged by a woman, Ubhaya Bharati. We created a civilizational space so vast, so intellectually fearless, that the Nastika traditions, even they could thrive. The Charvakas, the radical materialists attributed to Brihaspati, stood in the public square and they rejected the authority of even the Vedas, denied the existence of the Atma, and claimed that direct perception, pratyaksh, was the only valid source of knowledge. They forced the orthodox schools to rigorously prove their own logic. The Jains, following Mahavir, they brought forward anekantvad, the doctrine of non-absolutism. This was not a passive, weak plea for tolerance. It was a rigorous, dynamic methodology for debating rivals. It allowed Jain scholars to face Buddhist and Hindu scholars, sustaining their own validity while systematically critiquing rival views. The Buddhists, following Gautama, challenged the very concept of a permanent Atma. They revolutionized Indian logic through thinkers like Dharmakriti. And what was the orthodox response? They were not burned at the stake. They were not beheaded for blasphemy. They were engaged. They were revered as legitimate pillars of the Indian knowledge system. Dissent was and always has been the safety value of our civilization and the very engine of our philosophy. Why? Because of the Upanishads asserting the method of Neti Neti, not this, not this. This is found in the Upanishads, and it's the radical method of questioning everything. It negates all conditioned reality, all dogma, all limiting adjuncts, until only the unconditioned Brahman remains. In Dharma, no text is immune to commentary. Shruti, the revealed eternal truths, and Smriti, the practical temporal instructions, were endlessly debated. They were commented upon and revised and refined. We do not hold a monopoly on truth because we recognize that all paths are provisional. Freedom of speech for a follower of Dharma Vidya is not just a right, it's the very breath of the Atma seeking freedom. What's freedom of religion and belief as an Abrahamic construct? Now, contrast this radiant tradition with the Abrahamic construct of freedom of religion and belief. Where did this concept come from? It did not fall from the heavens. It was born in the blood-soaked soil of Europe, culminating in the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. Why? Because Christians had spent centuries slaughtering other Christians over whose interpretation of the Bible was correct. Freedom of religion was actually a political ceasefire. It was a framework historically designed by Western Christian nations to protect Christian denominations from each other. It was never designed to protect non-Abrahamic worldviews from Christian or Islamic hegemony. Look at the structural DNA of the Abrahamic worldview. It fundamentally divides humanity into a rigid, inflexible, unyielding binary, the insider and the outsider, the believer and the non-believer, the saved and the damned, the chosen and the heathen, the momin and the kafir. When they speak of freedom of religion, what do they actually mean? In practice, it means the missionary imperative. It means the freedom to proselytize, the freedom to recruit, the freedom to expand their institutional market share, often through predatory means, exploiting poverty, illness, and social fault lines, while simultaneously demanding that their core beliefs be shielded from scrutiny. As many Hindu organizations have rightly pointed out, true pluralism must include the fundamental freedom, the fundamental right to retain one's religion, free from harassment and predatory conversion tactics. It's the ultimate glaring paradox. How can a belief system claim the absolute divine right to convert you, to tell you that your ancestors are burning in hell, while claiming it is blasphemy or hurt religious sentiments if you question the logic of that conversion? Look at the international stage. Look at the United Nations Article 18. Look at how the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the OIC, they all consistently weaponize freedom of religion or belief to push for global blasphemy laws. They use the liberal language of human rights to silence the critics of religion. They use the shield of belief to crush the sword of inquiry. Blasphemy laws in Islamic states and hate speech laws in Western countries serve the exact same purpose. Their function is to protect religious belief from criticism. Freedom of religion as practiced today is an institutional fortress. It's designed to protect dogma from the piercing light of Viveka. Let us make the philosophical case clearly, logically, and without a shred of apology. Freedom of thought and speech is logically prior to freedom of religion. Think about it. You cannot choose a religion without first thinking. You cannot evaluate competing truth claims without first speaking freely. Religion is downstream. It is a product of thought. Therefore, any system, any constitution, any international body that elevates freedom of religion above freedom of speech is putting the cart before the horse. More precisely, it is putting institutional power above natural human faculty. A concocted institutional right cannot defeat an innate natural one. Freedom of speech presupposes nothing. It allows all inquiry. Freedom of religion presupposes a specific claim that one's belief system deserves immunity from scrutiny. And let me be clear, this is not a Western liberal argument. This is a profoundly Vedantic argument. Brahman is pure awareness, pure consciousness. It's free, it's unbound, and unconditioned. The Atma questions everything. That is its very nature. To restrict the inquiry of the Atma, to protect the fragile ego of a religious institution, is a crime against consciousness itself. The right to believe can never logically trump the right to question that belief. If your God cannot survive a question, isn't your God an illusion? This brings me to the tragedy of the modern Hindu. Picture the well-meaning, philosophically naive Hindu representative walking into an interfaith dialogue forum. They sit at the table, beaming with pride, and they quote Swami Vivekananda's legendary 1893 speech at the Parliament of World Religions in Chicago. I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. Beautiful words. But what did Vivekanandaji actually do at that parliament? Did he just smile, nod, and agree that everything was right? No, he debated, he challenged, he made a fierce intellectual case for the superiority of Vedanta. He noted that while other religions were shaken to their foundations, Sanatana Dharma, known as Hinduism, survived across generations because of its internal strength. He did not say all religions are equally true. He said Vedanta can absorb them all because it is based on universal principles. It is not exclusive, tribal revelations. Yet the modern Hindu misreads this as an instruction to stay silent and submissive. Just look at the glaring asymmetry in these interfaith spaces. When a Christian bishop enters an interfaith dialogue, he brings centuries of theological training, institutional backing, and a clear, unwavering mission of evangelism. When a Muslim scholar enters, he brings a structured worldview with absolute unyielding boundaries. He knows exactly what his principles stand for, and he knows who the kafir is. But when too many Hindus enter, they bring flowers, a smile, and the misapplied slogan of Sarva Dharma Samabhava, the idea that all paths are exactly the same. They actually forget the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 15, which defines the austerity of speech as words that are truthful, pleasant, and beneficial. Truthful comes first. Instead, they prioritize a false pleasantness over the hard truth. This sounds beautiful at a cocktail party, but it is philosophically incoherent. All paths are not the same. A path that says you will burn in hellfire forever if you do not accept one specific historical prophet is not the same as a path that says that the divine is in everything, including you. A path that seeks to conquer the world is not the same as a path that seeks to conquer the self. Pretending otherwise is not tolerance. It's Mithya, it's falseness. And Mithya is the absolute antithesis of Dharma Vidya. By sitting in these forums and validating proselytizing religions without demanding reciprocal recognition, Hindus are inadvertently lending credibility to systems whose stated theological goal is to eliminate Hindu practice. This false harmony doesn't actually help the Christian, it doesn't help the Muslim, and it catastrophically fails the Hindu. It is time to end the era of Mithya, and it is time for the call to Satya. Satya is not just polite truth-telling. It's the fierce, uncompromising courage to align your speech with reality. Satyameva Jayate, truth alone triumphs, is not a polite suggestion printed on the Indian currency. It's a cosmic declaration. What would it look like for Hindus to enter the global stage, to enter interfaith dialogue on Dharmic terms? It doesn't mean entering with aggression. It doesn't mean entering with hatred. It means entering with Viveka. It means having the intellectual spine to name the insider-outsider structure of religious dogmas. It means looking proponents of such dogmas in the eye and saying clearly, we do not accept that our traditions are inferior or incomplete. We do not accept that our gods are demons. We do not accept that our children need saving by your missionaries. And we absolutely refuse to pretend that these structural, theological differences do not exist, just to make you feel comfortable. That refusal, that unapologetic standing in the truth, is the most dharmic thing that a Hindu can do today. We must reclaim the spirit of Shastrartha. We must elevate the innate freedom of the Atma over the constructed walls of religious dogma. Freedom of religion will always lose to freedom of thought, because the concocted can never defeat the innate, the natural. So stand up, speak the truth, reclaim your voice, and in the words of Swami Vivekananda ji, Satyameva Jayate. Jai Shri Ram. Om.